Who dat to the Who Dat Nation? Welcome to the Who Dat Say podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. And I am your host, fellow Who Dat himself, Kevin Reed. And finally, the Saints have broken their 10-game losing streak, however long, well, Spencer Rattler did, but the Saints have finally got a win in the win column as they come out victorious against the New York Giants, defeating the Giants 26-14 in week 5 in the Caesars Superdome in a, I would say, decent performance by the New Orleans Saints. I am happy. Let me just go off and say I am extremely happy that the New Orleans Saints finally got this monkey off their back. They are a team that finally gets a win. It was looking as if the Saints were going to go 0-17 at one point in this season, but they, at moments in this game, they look like a team that is ready for prime time, and trust me, I'm not saying Super Bowl, but I'm just saying respectable amongst the NFL elite. But this is a very good victory to have. It's something that I kind of predicted in the pregame and the preview show, that I figured the Saints would win this game if they followed a simple blueprint. And wouldn't you know, they didn't follow it. It went a completely different route. Yet they came out victorious today. I am happy for Spencer Rattler and Kellen Moore both getting their first ever wins as quarterback and head coach respectively. I think that this is a much needed win for a lot of reasons. One being that they got it off of them, the pressure of getting that first win. And not so much for Kellen Moore as it is for Spencer Rattler, because if you listen to all of the so-called Saints fans out there, especially after last week, oh man, he's 0-10 as a starter. They need to make the switch. They need to do this. They need to do that. Go to Tyler Shuck and do all this other stuff. He's not a good quarterback. I'm not going to say he silenced them, because Spencer Rattler played pretty much like he's played the entire season thus far. Solid, pretty average, nothing to wow you, but he did what he had to do to sustain the win. He didn't particularly go out there and win it, but he didn't lose it either, which he didn't do prior to this game. But he needed a victory in order to get that stigma off of him, get that stink off of him, and that pressure. You know how it is on your respective jobs or any other events in your life. Once you cross that hump, once you get over that task that's real taxing to you, and it feels like everything else is gravy. You can really go through it because you've been through the hard part of your task. And so it gets a little easier as you go along. It's the same thing with football. It's the same thing in the NFL. And once you get that victory that you've been longing for, and in his case, 10 games or 11 games, now you can focus on being yourself, because Spencer Rattler's problem throughout this run as the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints is the fact that he has had a lot of pressure on him. He had to fight to get this starting position going back to last season, had to fight to be the number 2. And then finally, when he got his opportunities, he had to fight to keep that number 2, because he had Jake Hader right there waiting in the wings to take it from him. And so we get to this season, and Derek Carr retires. The Saints draft Tyler Shuck, and you still have Jake Hader here. So now he still has to fight. He fought through the offseason, through the preseason. He gets the starting job, earns it, and still he has that lingering over his back. Any mistake he makes, any game that he goes out there and loses for the New Orleans Saints, Tyler Shuck is waiting in the wings to take his job. And so there's a lot of pressure there for anybody in that position. Just think, for years, that's why Drew Brees did not want the Saints to draft a quarterback in any draft or bring in a free agent quarterback of up to his level, which is ridiculous to think because Drew Brees was in a level of his own. But he didn't want that pressure because he experienced that when he was with the San Diego Chargers. At least they were in San Diego at the time. And they brought in Phillip Rivers. They drafted Phillip Rivers. And the next thing you know, he was out the door. But it all worked out to the good because, hey, he came to New Orleans and it was a completely different guy, completely different quarterback, Hall of Fame, soon to be in a couple of months, a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Super Bowl champion. But players, quarterbacks, all players do not want that pressure of somebody on the bench waiting to take their job. Just like you don't want anybody taking your job at your respective place. But Spencer Rattler has had that his entire career here in New Orleans. And he needed to get over the hump of winning a game because that would eliminate the argument, oh, he's never won a game. Well, you can no longer say that today. It is over. You can never say that Spencer Rattler has never won an NFL football game. This was a interesting game. Very, very interesting. It started off, the Saints did what I have been begging for them to do for a couple of weeks. When they win the toss, stop deferring. Because as a team, you want to set the tone. Set the tone. Go out there, score. Put the pressure on the opposing team to keep up. Stop playing from behind. And so the Saints finally took the opening kickoff. What did they do with that opening drive? Absolutely nothing. It was 3 and out. And so you give the ball back to the Giants. What did they do? They went down the field and scored. It was very disturbing to see Jackson Dart, who's making his second start as the Giants quarterback in his rookie year, to be as comfortable as he was those first 2 drives of this game. He looked like he could have sat back there and made a sandwich and nobody was around him. I mean, I counted on one occasion where he had 6 seconds, and I kid you not, he was sitting back there for 6 seconds. And you expect a defense, I don't care who you have in that secondary, they're not covering a wide receiver for 6 seconds. And he just sat back there. And it was like that for the first quarter and maybe the first quarter and a half of the game. There was no pressure by this defensive front. And I was like, well, this is going to be another loss for the Saints. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if we lose this game, do you really give the Saints a chance to win any game this season? Because the Giants, yeah, they won last week, but the Giants are just as bad as us. We are pathetic. That first quarter was one of the most pathetic displays of NFL football I have seen from this organization. It was embarrassing to watch. I was inches away from grabbing the remote control and switching over to another game. It was looking that bad because I knew we weren't going to win this game. They had no game plan, it felt like. The defensively, it was do what you want. Offensively, they couldn't get it together. You still had the false starts, the illegal formations, and all this going on. And I'm like, man, they still haven't gotten it together. You get Taysom Hill back. You try to force feed Taysom Hill into the offense. It just was not clicking at all. And I really thought we were going down to the 0-5 realm um, at the end of this game. But something happened. I don't know what it was, but something clicked. And the Saints got it together finally and looked like a team that I thought that we were going to get this season throughout. And that was a team that wasn't going to be dominant, but a team that was going to be competitive, a team that was going to give their opposing teams a run for their money. And that's exactly what happened for 2.5 quarters. It was beautiful. I was loving everything that the New Orleans Saints were doing in the towards the end of the end of the second quarter into the second half. The Saints really just went all out. Defensively, gotta give them their props today. Defensively, 5 turnovers, 5. 5. And man, Kool-Aid McKinstry, as much as we were ragging on Kool-Aid for the past month of this season, where he was just getting torched, getting burnt, getting mossed, everything, every adjective that you could think of football related, it was happening to Kool-Aid. And Kool-Aid today stepped up. Somebody put sugar in the Kool-Aid. Now you can drink it. I'm not drinking it, but I took a sip. I took a sip today. I'm not prepared to take the whole glass or the whole pitcher of Kool-Aid, but it tastes a little sweet today. Yeah, good job on Kool-Aid. I think he had 2 interceptions today. Man, and they kept going at him. And I think he had about 2 or 3 pass breakups as well. So he came to play. Justin Reed went out early in this game, and Quincy Riley stepped up. Jordan Howland stepped up. I mean, they just looked like a different team today. They really did. And every opportunity that they had to make a play, they made it defensively and really shut down the Giants' run game. Once it got late in the game and the game got out of reach where they really couldn't run the ball, made Jackson Dart one-dimensional, which I wanted them to do for the entire game. But once that happened, I knew that the Saints had this game on lock. This was very inspiring. Offensively, great performance by Spencer Rattler. I think it's time to shut the book on it, man. We need to let it go. We honestly let it go with this Spencer Rattler. Is he the guy? I don't know if he's going to be the quote-unquote future, our quarterback for the next 10 years or whatever. But I think we can say he could be the quarterback for this season. Now, next season, we'll see. But for the 2025-26 season, he's the guy. We're 5 weeks in, and Spencer Rattler has not shown where he is a detriment to this team, where he can hurt this team. He doesn't hurt the team. If anything, he helps the team. He's the saving grace of this team. And so I love that. Finally took a shot down the field that we've been crying for a month. And boy, what a pass. What a pass. Finally got a Shadeed sighting on that 87-yard touchdown. Great throw, great pass, great play call. Shocked me that they took that shot. And they needed to, because that secondary is boo-boo over there in New York, man. And all due respect to Paulson Adebo, I miss my boy Paulson Adebo, but Paulson Adebo showed you why he's no longer in New Orleans today. In case you forgot that he is a walking PI, he gave you 2 today, 2 or 3 today, pass interference. I know on one drive alone, he single-handedly ushered the Saints up the field. It was like he was still playing for the Saints. It was that ridiculous. But yeah, you needed to attack the weakness of this team, just like you need to do that every week. And I think that's the frustrating part of watching the Saints so far this season. They don't know where to attack. the weak points of their opposing teams. And it's like, man, why are we even out there? Just forfeit the game if you're not going to exploit it, because the other teams have no problems exploiting the Saints' weaknesses. And they exploit it for the world to see. But in the season lacking big plays, the New Orleans Saints delivered not one but two today. One on offense and one on defense. I already mentioned the touchdown throw to Shadeed, and we also got the fumble recovery that the scoop and score for, I think that was 87 yards as well, that went for a score that pretty much iced the game for the New Orleans Saints. It is today, October 5th, 2025, the first victory of Coach Kellen Moore's tenure as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, and the first win for Spencer Rattler as the team's starting quarterback for the Saints. They now are 1-4 on the season. The Giants dropped to 1-4 after this loss. The offense got good things going, with that touchdown pass to Shadeed, that 87-yard pass to Shadeed in the second quarter. That's what really broke the game open and turned everything around for the New Orleans Saints. It's the longest play by both players in their careers, and it's the longest play for the Saints from scrimmage since Drew Brees threw that touchdown pass to, believe it or not, Brandon Cooks in October of 2026. Oh, I'm sorry, that's in the future, but of 2016, almost 10 years ago to the day, against the Carolina Panthers. And it's crazy because Brandon Cooks is on this team currently still, but it's been 9 years since we had a play that was over 80 yards, and we got it today. The defense got their act in the first play of the fourth quarter. Brian Brzee forced a fumble on Cam. Let me say something about Cam Scatterbo. That dude reminds me so much of Mike Allstar. Yeah, I remember that dude from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just a bulldozer. That dude was a grown man. I love Mike Allstar. The way he ran that ball, bro. He was just you did not want to stand in front of that dude. And I see the same thing with Cam Scatterbo. And so man, kudos to him. I'm a fan of his. But on that play there, big props to Brian Brzee for punching that ball out. Jordan Holland scooped it up for a 86-yard touchdown. That really just put the nail in the coffin for the Giants. It was the Giants' third fumble in the game, and that play is tied for the fifth longest play in franchise history, and is tied for the second longest fumble return in team history. It's tied with a fumble return from Tyrone Hughes. That's a throwback for all of you Who-Dats of a certain age. Back in 1994, when he recovered, scooped and scored for a 86-yard touchdown return. And so, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Kool-Aid McKinstry, man, he had 2 interceptions as the Saints dominated in the turnover battle today. They were the first, I think, if I'm not mistaken, interceptions by Kool-Aid in his career, and he got 2 of them. Now, it was on a rookie, but hey, you got him. Spencer Rattler had the best game that he has had as a Saint. He went 20 for 30, 225 yards and a touchdown today. Chris Olave probably had one of his better games of the season thus far with 7 catches for 59 yards. Alvin Kamara, he added 27 yards on the ground, 28 receiving. Could have had more. I don't know what's wrong with Kamara, but he's been bit by the dropsy bug the last few games, man. Those drop passes are like, man, what are we doing, bro? What's wrong with you? Oh, now I know a lot of them. He's looking. He's not really looking the ball in. He's looking to see where the hit coming from and whatnot. I get all that, but I don't know. He's he's usually more sure-handed than that, but thankfully it didn't come back to haunt us. Now, Kendrick Miller, he had another nice outing. He had 10 carries for 41 yards, and I just want to say, look, I love Alvin Kamara. I hope Alvin Kamara finishes his career here in New Orleans, no matter how long that is. It could be 1 year, 2 years, 50 years, whatever. I hope he continues to be a New Orleans Saints till he decides to hang up the cleats. But it's about time to have that tough talk. It's about time to have that conversation. Uh, do do we move on from Alvin Kamara and hitch our wagon to Kendrick Miller? Now, it's hard to say that now because we still need more time with Kendrick. We don't know if he can stay healthy and whatnot. You know, he does have a long history of injuries that pops up on him. But man, he has been running that ball like crazy this season. I don't know what he did in the off season, rehab wise, workout wise, to prepare for this season, but he looks great as the running back. He can start on any other team. Honestly, that's my humble opinion. I think he is that good. And he's behind Alvin Kamara, which, look, that doesn't mean that Alvin Kamara looks like doo-doo back there. Yeah, Alvin Kamara is doing his thing, but let's be real. Kendrick Miller looks more productive behind Spencer Rattler in that backfield. So it's time to have that conversation, or at least it's coming up. I should say it that way for Mr. Miller. It was great to see Taysom Hill back in this team, on this team, I should say, and he looked good. He doesn't look like his form. He doesn't have that same burst, and I mean, come on, I don't expect to see 100% Taysom Hill. It felt rushed back. Him and Foster Monroe, who also returned today, it felt rushed back. He wasn't 100% because a couple of those design runs that he had back in the day, that would have been a 5-6 yard run, if not more, but at least a 5-6 yard run. And they pretty much got snuffed out in the backfield because he didn't have that same agility, that same burst of speed and power that he normally has. And I think that's probably mostly playing in his head, you know, trusting that knee coming off an ACL injury like he did. And, you know, he's 35 years old. At this point, it's going to be iffy throughout, you know, but it's good to have him out there, take a couple of hits, see how he feels today and tomorrow and throughout the week. Like, okay, I think I'm back. I think I'm good. I took some big hits. You know, I planted on that knee. I ran on that knee. Everything looks good. I'm ready to go. You know, I can trust it now. So he can open up and be the Taysom Hill that we know and love going forward. It wasn't all good news today, even though it's great that we won. We still have issues. We still have problems. I mentioned a couple of them, but Blake Groupie, man, is it me, or shouldn't they be bringing in some kickers this week? We should be getting reports that the Saints are bringing in field goal kickers to try out for this team. Those kicks, he missed 2 today. 2. Now that's 4 this season that he's missed. And it's time to bring in some other kickers. If not to sign, to get his mind right. Like, look, I'm bringing in these kickers. If any one of them is better than you, that's it for you. That's it. Or equal to you, that's it for you. You know, it's time to move on, because you mean to tell me you can kick, what, he had 3 field goals in Buffalo on the road? You can hit those, but you can't hit field goals in the dome at home? No, man. I'm sorry. It's time. Plus, he looked like he got hurt on that last kick that he missed. Yeah, so I don't know what his health status is. We'll find out as we go forward. But either way, man, they need to bring in some kickers. I am done with Blake Groupie. Done. Done. I've been done. But after today, it's like, what more evidence do you need to move on from this guy? We also lost safety Justin Reed today with a concussion, and that was in the first quarter. But I will say this, and I mean no disrespect to Justin Reed. I think he's a good safety, good addition to this team. But his relief, the guys coming in behind him, plays better. that's no shot at him. It's just the facts, man. That defense looked different when Justin Reed was not back there. Or maybe I should say the secondary. They played much different, much better when he wasn't back there. Those young guys, Quincy Riley and Jordan Howden came in as relief pitchers or whatever, and just, man, they shut down. They shut down the passing attack from the New York Giants today. I'm sorry. You can say what you want. That defense looked better when Justin Reed wasn't there. Is it because of Justin Reed? I'm not saying that. I'm just going by what it looked like. And so let's go through some of these stats today in the New Orleans Saints victory over the New York Giants, beginning with passing leaders. New York Giants rookie quarterback Jackson Dart. He was 26 of 40, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions today. He was sacked once today, and it should have been twice. That call at the end of the game, the roughing the passer call, was embarrassing. If I was a NFL referee, I would be embarrassed by that call. It's not no call level of embarrassment, but it's up there in the top 10. Is no way that was roughing. No way. He didn't go at the head. And I'm talking about Carl Granderson. He didn't go at his head. He didn't slam him on the ground. He didn't land on top of him. I don't know what he was supposed to do. Not touch him at all? Because, I mean, what else he was supposed to do as a defender? Completely ridiculous. But it goes down. He was only sacked one time today. He should have been sacked more. Like I said earlier, there was zero pressure at moments of this game. That was just like, my God, man. We couldn't get to this guy. We couldn't make him uncomfortable at all. But we won the game. I'm just saying, we won the game. Moving over to the New Orleans Saints passing leaders, you have Spencer Rattler. He was 21 of 31, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and get this, people, 0 sacks. The offensive line held up today. And this is impressive. You can say what you want about the Giants, but that defensive line is stacked. You have Brian Burns, you have Thibodeau, you have what's the other guy name? I just had it. But anyways, they have a really good defensive line. Non-existing today. They neutralized that defensive line. Great job by the offensive line. I got to give kudos when it's due, because we know it don't take much for it to flip in the other direction. Rushing leaders today for the New Orleans Saints: Kendrick Miller, 10 rushes for 41 yards, no touchdowns. For the New York Giants, Cam Scatterbo, he had 15 carries for 59 yards, no touchdowns. Receiving leaders for the New Orleans Saints, that'll be Rashid Shaheed, 4 catches for 114 yards, 1 touchdown. Today, receiving leader for the New York Giants was Daniel Bellinger, their tight end, 4 catches, 52 yards, no touchdown. Defensively, leading tackler for each team, the New York Giants, Bobby Akari. Anyway, he had 10 tackles today for the New Orleans Saints. Pete Warner, he had 11 tackles today. Team stats, beginning with first downs. The New York Giants had 23 first downs. The Saints had 18 first downs. On third down efficiency, the Giants were 3 for 10. The Saints were 7 for 15. On fourth downs, the Giants were 3 for 5. The Saints were 100% 1 for 1. Total plays ran today. Giants 70, Saints 61. Total yards, Giants 335 total yards. Saints 332 total yards. Almost dead even. They both had 10 drives apiece. Giants 4.8 yards per play to the Saints 5.4 yards per play. Passing yards, Saints 244 passing yards to the Giants 199. Rushing yards today, the Saints had 88 rushing yards today. That needs to improve. And the Giants had 136 rushing yards on the day. In the red zone, Giants were 2 for 4. Saints, and once again, the biggest bugaboo there is, this has been going on since the Peyton era. And they were 0 for 3 in the red zone. Like I said, the Saints got the victory today. But if you play a team with slightly better quality than the New York Giants, we lose this game. There's no way you get to the red zone 3 times and come out empty-handed against a quality team. But the Saints managed to squeak out a victory here. Penalties, still another bugaboo in the Saints' arsenal. They had 7 penalties today, and the Giants bested them by 1 with 8 penalties total today. 5 turnovers by the Giants, which was ultimately their stake through the heart. Time of possession, the Giants had the ball for 31 minutes and 50 seconds to the Saints 28 minutes and 10 seconds. My grade for the New Orleans Saints performance today against the New York Giants, you know how we do it here. We grade all 4 facets of the New Orleans Saints: offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. Round them all up and come up with a overall grade for the Saints performance against the New York Giants in week 5. Let's begin with the offense. Offense today gets a B+. It was a really good outing for the Saints. You know, they did move the ball fairly well, but they've been doing that all season. The problem with the New Orleans Saints offense, they don't know how to finish a drive. They cannot punch it in for some strange reason. I don't know what it is. They'll work you between the 20s. But once we get in the red area, they forget how to play football. But we saw some deep shots down the field. We saw a balanced offense. They ran the ball. They kept the Giants defense honest. They integrated Taysom Hill into it a little bit, sprinkled that in. They moved the ball around with different receivers. Olave had some big catches. Shadeed had some big catches. They worked Alvin Kamara more into the passing game today, which was just a breath of fresh air to see. Even though he didn't look his best today, and I think he got injured. I think late in the first half, he looked a little banged up, but he did play in the second half a little bit. Not as much though, but so that's something to keep an eye on. But the offense looked real good today. They get a B+. Defense also gets a B+. They started off rough. They started off in F territory, but they turned it around quick. They made Jackson Dart look like a rookie at times in this game, which was great to see. You know, even though out of the 5 turnovers that the defense got, one of them was just Jackson Dart. He just flat out dropped the ball. The ball just straight up slipped out of his hand, and Cam Jordan was right there to pounce on it. But the rest of them were clearly forced, and good job on this defense. I give them and also neutralizing their rookie running back over there with Scatable I thought at one point he was going to get like 150 yards rushing on the New Orleans Saints defense, but once they took them out of the equation, that was it. Plus, they lost players. You already didn't have Monique Neighbors as your big threat, and then their next man up, Darius Slayton, he went out. So at that point, it was just nothing. So a lot of it was the Giants were hampered. I fully acknowledge that, but we know in times past that meant nothing when you went up against the Saints defense. So the Saints defense governed themselves accordingly and just trounced this Giants offense. They get a B plus today. Special teams gets a C. Blake Grupe, something needs to be done. I'm sorry. Even though he did save that kickoff return. He was the last man standing on that kickoff return that almost went back. He made the game-saving or the touchdown-saving tackle at the end of that kickoff return. I think it was in the fourth quarter or late in the third, one of the two. But thank God he did reach out and grab old boy ankle because he was gone. It was nothing else in front of him. So I give him that. But after that, he missed the kick before that, and he missed the kick after that. So I can't give him too much love today, but I will give them a C nonetheless. Coaching gets a B plus as well. One of my knocks on Kellen Moore, and I know this is probably going to come with time, is the fact that he doesn't dictate the tone of the game. He doesn't dictate how the opposing team is going to play. It's almost to the sense where he waits to see what the opposing team is going to do, and he'll adjust to that. You know, that's why I wanted the Saints to get the opening kickoff so they can set the tone. You know, they always deferred and allowed the other team to set the tone, or they'll run a little vanilla offense on their first drive to see what set the defense is going to be playing out of, and by that time you're down by a touchdown or you even down by 2 touchdowns. So you got to play catch up. You got to play from behind in the game. So that's my big knock. I think Kellen Moore can be a good coach, but as it stands right now, no, because he isn't able to formulate a game plan throughout a week and truly execute it. It's really a fly by the seat of your pants type coaching style that he has. Let's see how the game plays out type coaching style, and that's not obviously is not working. It worked today, but like I said, you go up against a playoff caliber team, it's not gonna work out well for you. Just like we did in the first 4 weeks of this season. Those were all playoff caliber teams, and look at the result. So you cannot play or coach a team in that fashion and expect to win in this league. So I hope that gets cleared up. Like I said, I'm pretty sure as time goes on, he'll learn the ins and outs of being a head coach and how to dictate the terms or the flow of the game. So I give coaching a B plus nonetheless, because he did make adjustments in this game and were able to call some really good plays at crucial times. He went for it on 4th and 5 late in the game that shocked me, and they actually converted, and I was shocked, and that really iced the game. So he put his chips in the middle of the table on a few moments in this game. So I got to give him credit for showing some cojones here. They get a B plus. Overall, the Saints, they get a B plus. It was a B plus performance. Great job, great victory. I'm glad that we got it. I don't know if this is going to be the only one this season, so I'm going to go ahead on and revel in this for the next week, like we just won the Super Bowl. But I'm happy. I am super happy for Spencer Rattler, man. This dude works hard. You know how hard it is to or discouraging, I should say, to go out week after week after week, put in the work, do all you can do, not turn the ball over, do everything that's expected for you to do everything that was asked of you to do as a player, and still lose and get all the blame. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gets all the blame for the losses. I want to see how much credit he gets for this win today. I want that same energy, people. Now I'm not giving him credit for this win, but I'm just talking that's just me, but I'm talking about those who gave him all the blame for the losses that we got and I felt was unfair and unjust. So if you're going to do it for that, you got to do it for this. Otherwise, you look hypocritical. But in any event, we won this game, people. Saints are 1-4. Super Bowl, here we go. And I only joke. This is great, man. Because with this game in the first quarter, I'm telling you, God is my witness. I sat there and it was like, well, 0-5, 0-5, because this does not look good. They did not look good in that first quarter. My God, I thought it was going to be a blowout. The Giants' first 2 drives scored. And that's something they haven't done, and the commentator said it. I don't know, it's been over a year, maybe 2-3 years, or whatever. They have never scored on their first 2 opening drives of a game. But they did it today. And I knew then, I was like, well, here we go. We about to get another one. The Saints are going to squander this opportunity. But they bounced back, they fought hard, and they came out victorious. Next week, the New Orleans Saints will host the New England Patriots, who, once again, a winnable game. Let's see if we're able to, who knows, get 2 in a row. We get 2 in a row and get some momentum going. Man, I don't want to be that guy. But it looks like, man, you can build off of that, because you look at the rest of the schedule. The Saints, that schedule is not strong. The Saints can make some noise. That's one of the reasons it was so hurtful to drop these first 4. If you could have got 2 out of these first 4, man, the Saints would have been able to make some noise, going forward this season. But it is what it is. You can't. I don't own a time machine. This is where we at. But you can finish strong with this schedule. It starts today. You got that victory today. You got that monkey off your back. Now you don't have to just focus on getting that first win. See, the focus was that first win. Now you can just go out there and focus on beating a team. You get what I'm saying? I know it sounds crazy, but it's in my mind, it makes sense. But in any event, that's what we have in store for next week. We'll preview that game next week. But for right now, I'm going to bask in the glow of the Saints beating the New York Giants. It's kind of ironic. The last time the Saints won a game was against the New York Giants last season when we played them, only to come right back around, play them again, and get our first victory since then. But the Saints win today, 26-14. We are now currently 1-4. We'll see what this means going forward. I would like to know, how are you feeling after this win? Are you back on the train? I know a lot of people jumped off the bandwagon, but I want to see if anybody running behind it trying to jump back on after this victory. Let me know how you feel. Are you happy for Kellen Moore and Spencer Rattler for getting their first victories as head coach and starting quarterback? Or are you optimistic of the future? Do you think that this will be the only win for the New Orleans Saints this season? I wouldn't fight you on it if you said that. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I would like to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about YouTube. subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube, and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Who That Say podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this recap of the Saints' first victory of the 2025 NFL season. Oh, it feels so good. I'm going to sleep so good tonight. I'm going to sleep good tonight. I ain't lying. I feel great, and I hope you do too. I will be back later this week to preview the Saints versus the Patriots. Until then, I'm going to be screaming to the top of my lungs, "Who dat?"